The vast chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with an electric atmosphere of anticipation and barely contained amusement. Hundreds of alien representatives from across the known universe gathered, their exotic forms shimmering in holographic projections and physical presence. Today was another routine diplomatic session, or so they believed. J. Park stood at the center of the massive circular platform, a lone human representative surrounded by creatures that defied conventional understanding. His dark suit was crisp, his posture confident, and his eyes carried a calm that seemed almost out of place among the theatrical displays of the alien delegates. Vrel, a crystalline being from the Andromeda Confederation, couldn't contain his laughter. His translucent body vibrated with waves of pure mockery. "Humans," he announced, his voice echoing through translation devices. "A species that only recently discovered stable nuclear energy wants to present defense strategies to the Galactic Council." The chamber erupted in waves of laughter. Tentacled beings, energy constructs, and silicon-based life forms all joined in a chorus of ridicule. Mechanical translators caught every nuance of their collective derision. Jay remained motionless. A simple datapad in his hand displayed complex diagrams and strategic models that most delegates were too busy laughing to observe. His colleague, Hyun Kim, stood slightly behind him, her expression a perfect mask of professional composure. "The Earth Unified Defense Command presents its preliminary galactic defense framework," Jay began, his voice steady and clear. Each word was carefully chosen, each sentence constructed with precision. More laughter followed. A serpentine delegate from the Orion cluster dramatically wiped what seemed like a tear from multiple eyes. "Humans? Defending the galaxy? They can barely manage their own planet's climate." Jay tapped something on his datapad. Suddenly, complex holographic projections began to materialize around the chamber. Detailed star maps, technological schematics, and strategic defense models started replacing the delegates' mocking displays. The laughter slowly died. Corral, a senior representative from the Stellar Assembly, leaned forward. His previous amusement was replaced by a hint of curiosity. The holographic models showed intricate defense networks that seemed both simple and impossibly complex. "Interesting," Corral muttered, his multiple sensory appendages adjusting to analyze the data. Jay continued his presentation with remarkable calm. He discussed Earth's unique approach to technological development, highlighting how human innovation often came from unexpected sources. He spoke of adaptability, of turning limitations into strengths. The chamber grew quieter. The initial waves of mockery transformed into something else, a growing sense of uncertainty. Mirok, the Galactic Defense Coordinator, studied the projections carefully. His mechanical body shifted slightly, processing information at speeds most organic beings couldn't comprehend. Something about the human's presentation was triggering multiple alert protocols in his systems. "You find this amusing?" Jay asked suddenly, breaking the developing silence. "We are not here to entertain. We are here to discuss potential collaborative defense strategies." A ripple of tension spread through the chamber. The delegates who moments ago were laughing now found themselves unexpectedly uncomfortable. Vrel's crystalline form seemed to shrink slightly. The initial confidence was wavering. These humans were not behaving according to the expected script of a developing species presentation. Hyun Kim stepped forward, her movements precise. She activated additional layers of the presentation, revealing technological concepts that hinted at capabilities far beyond what the initial mockery suggested. The Galactic Council chamber, moments ago filled with ridicule, now buzzed with a different energy, curiosity, concern, and something else, a growing respect for the unexpected visitors. J. Park allowed himself the smallest of smiles. Not a triumphant grin, but a subtle acknowledgement that the first step had been taken. First contact was never about proving superiority. It was about demonstrating potential. As the presentation concluded, the alien delegates were left with a single overwhelming feeling. Humans were not what they had expected. And in the vast, complex universe of galactic politics, the unexpected was often the most dangerous thing of all. The massive conference hall fell silent as Hyun Kim stepped forward. Her slim figure seemed almost fragile compared to the towering alien representatives, but her eyes burned with an intensity that commanded attention. "Preliminary technological demonstration," she announced, her voice clear and precise. A holographic display erupted around her, transforming the sterile council chamber into a three-dimensional battlefield simulation. The aliens leaned forward, their previous mockery replaced by a growing sense of curiosity. The first projection showed a complex network of quantum-linked defense satellites. Unlike traditional technology, these weren't just communication devices. They were adaptive systems that could reconfigure themselves in milliseconds, responding to potential threats faster than any known galactic technology. Corral, the Orion, stellar assembly representative, tilted his sensory appendages. Something was different about these human designs. They weren't just defensive. They were intelligent. Hyun tapped her datapad. The simulation shifted, showing how these satellites could create instant energy barriers, absorb incoming attacks, and redistribute defensive capabilities across multiple platforms. It was like watching a living, breathing defense system. Adaptive. Quantum networking, she explained simply. Each satellite learns from previous encounters. They communicate. They evolve. The mechanical representative, Mirak, ran multiple computational checks. The technology defied conventional understanding. These weren't just machines. They were something more. Another projection appeared. This time, it demonstrated Earth's breakthrough in molecular reconstruction technology. A simulated weapon attack was launched against a prototype defense shield, but instead of simply blocking the attack, the shield began to analyze the weapon's composition, instantly creating a perfect counter-frequency, adaptive defense. Hyun continued. Not just protection, understanding. Vrel, the crystalline being who had laughed during the first presentation, now remained completely still. His translucent body seemed to absorb every detail of the demonstration. The next demonstration was even more shocking. A small robotic drone appeared, showcasing how human artificial intelligence could predict and counter potential threats. It wasn't just following programmed instructions, it was thinking, adapting, learning. The drone navigated through a complex battlefield simulation, making decisions that seemed almost impossible. It predicted enemy movements, created diversionary tactics, and found solutions that no rigid military system could comprehend. Jay Park watched from the side, his expression calm. He knew this demonstration was more than just a technological showcase. It was a message. Hyun's final demonstration touched on something even more profound. She showed how these technologies could be scaled, from planetary defense to potential galactic protection systems. The implications were staggering. The alien representatives began to communicate among themselves. Their previous laughter was completely gone. Now there was only a growing sense of concern and respect. Our technologies are not about destruction, Hyun explained. They are about understanding, about adaptation, about protection. Each demonstration revealed something fundamental about human approach to technology. It wasn't about having the biggest weapon. It was about intelligence, about learning, about finding solutions nobody else could see. Coral's mechanical translator struggled to process the full implications. These humans weren't just presenting technology. They were presenting a completely different way of thinking about defense and innovation. The quantum networks could repair themselves. The AI systems could learn from every encounter. The molecular reconstruction technology could adapt faster than any known system in the galaxy. As the demonstration concluded, a heavy silence fell over the conference hall. The alien representatives looked at each other, a silent communication passing between them. Something had changed. Jay Park stepped forward, joining Hyun. Their message was clear. Humanity was not just another developing species. They were something else entirely. The Galactic Council had expected a simple presentation. What they received was a glimpse into a technological approach that challenged everything they understood about defense, innovation, and potential. Vrel's crystalline form seemed to shrink slightly. The laughter from the first presentation was a distant memory. Now there was only a growing sense of something unexpected. Humanity had just changed the rules of the game, and nobody in the galaxy was prepared for what might come next. Yun Choi stood before the Galactic Council, her presentation ready to unleash another wave of unexpected revelations. The chamber, still recovering from the previous technological demonstration, buzzed with nervous anticipation. Her first slide showed something deceptively simple, a complex network of global communication systems. But this was no ordinary network. Each node could adapt, transform, and protect itself faster than any known system in the galaxy. Our capabilities extend beyond traditional understanding, she began, her voice steady and matter-of-fact. The alien representatives leaned forward. What seemed like a simple communication grid was actually a living, breathing defense mechanism. Each data point could become a defensive node, a communication hub, or a strategic planning center within milliseconds. Mirok, the mechanical defense coordinator, ran multiple computational checks. His advanced systems struggled to process the complexity of human technology. It was like watching a biological organism and a computer system merge into something entirely new. Yun triggered a simulation that made the entire chamber gasp. The communication network could literally reshape itself. When one node was attacked, the entire system would redistribute, creating instant alternative pathways. It was not just a defense. It was a living, breathing organism of information and protection. Rel's crystalline body vibrated with a mixture of fear and fascination. These humans were showing capabilities that defied conventional galactic understanding. The Xiao. Next demonstration was even more shocking. Yun showed how Earth's technological systems could predict potential conflict zones using complex algorithms that combined historical data, social media analysis, and quantum probability calculations. We don't just react, she explained. We anticipate. A holographic display showed potential conflict zones around the planet, but these weren't just basic predictions. The system could show potential resolution strategies, diplomatic alternatives, and strategic defensive options, all calculated in real time. Koral, the Orion Stellar Assembly representative, noticed something unusual. These weren't just military calculations. They were humanitarian considerations integrated directly into defense strategies. The presentation took an unexpected turn. Yun revealed how human technological systems could rapidly develop medical solutions, environmental protection strategies, and global communication networks simultaneously. Our technology is not about destruction, she stated. It's about comprehensive protection and development. The alien representatives exchanged worried glances. This was not the presentation of a developing species. This was something else entirely. Another simulation showed how human technological systems could adapt to multiple scenarios simultaneously. A planetary defense system could shift from protection to medical support, to environmental restoration, to communication network in mere moments. J. Park watched from the side, his expression carefully neutral. Each demonstration was a carefully planned message to the Galactic Council. Yun's final demonstration was perhaps the most terrifying. She showed how human technological systems could learn and adapt from every single interaction. They weren't just processing information, they were evolving. The mechanical systems could modify themselves. The communication networks could predict and prevent potential conflicts. The defensive strategies could transform faster than any known technology in the galaxy. Mirok's computational systems began to overheat from processing the information. These humans had developed something that was part technology, part living system, part strategic intelligence. The chamber grew silent. The previous mockery was completely gone. Now there was only a growing sense of concern and respect. We are not seeking conflict, Yun concluded. We are preparing for comprehensive protection, not just for Earth, but potentially for the entire galaxy. Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. The alien representatives looked at each other. Something fundamental had changed. Humanity was no longer a developing species to be ignored. They were a potential game-changer in galactic politics and technological development. Vrel's crystalline form seemed to shrink. The laughter from the first presentation was now a distant, embarrassing memory. As Yoon concluded her presentation, the Galactic Council understood one thing clearly. Humanity was not what they had expected, and in the vast, complex universe of galactic politics, the unexpected was often the most dangerous thing of all. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Days after the human technological demonstrations, tension had become the new normal. Delegates from various star systems whispered in hushed tones, their previous confidence replaced by growing uncertainty. Koral from the Orion Stellar Assembly called an emergency meeting. His mechanical appendages moved rapidly, processing countless scenarios. The human presentations had revealed something far more dangerous than any weapon. Unpredictability. "We cannot ignore this," Koral announced, his voice carrying a mix of concern and respect. "Humans have demonstrated capabilities that challenge everything we understand about technological development." Vrel, the crystalline representative, remained unusually quiet. His previous mockery had transformed into a deep, unsettling fear. The human technological systems seemed to have a life of their own, adaptive, learning, evolving faster than any known galactic technology. Behind the scenes, secret communications began to flow between different alien civilizations. Emergency meetings were held in hidden communication chambers. Military strategists ran countless simulations trying to understand the potential threat posed by Earth. J. Park knew exactly what was happening. From the moment of their first presentation, the plan had been simple. Demonstrate potential without showing aggression. Let the Galactic Council understand that humanity was not a threat, but a potential ally, or a force to be respected. Mirok's computational systems worked overtime. He had discovered something truly terrifying in the human technological models. They weren't just defensive systems. They were comprehensive problem-solving networks that could adapt to virtually any scenario. Military representatives from different star systems began to share classified information. Each new analysis revealed more about the human capabilities. Their technology wasn't just advanced, it was revolutionary. The most frightening revelation came from a detailed analysis of human communication networks. These weren't just communication systems. They were living, breathing, intelligent networks that could predict, prevent, and resolve potential conflicts before they even began. Yoon Choi had intentionally shown just enough to create maximum uncertainty. Each demonstration was carefully calculated to reveal potential, without showing all capabilities. The humans were playing a complex psychological game of strategic revelation. Diplomatic channels became increasingly tense. Some alien representatives began suggesting preemptive defensive measures against Earth. Others argued for immediate diplomatic engagement. The human approach had created total uncertainty. Yun Kim monitored the communications, understanding the delicate balance they were maintaining. It wasn't about showing strength. It was about demonstrating potential and intelligence. The quantum communication networks the humans had demonstrated could potentially disrupt existing galactic communication systems. More importantly, they could predict and potentially prevent conflicts across multiple star systems. Frel's crystalline form began to vibrate with a mixture of fear and respect. The humans had done something extraordinary. They had made the entire Galactic Council uncertain without firing a single weapon. Secret reports began to circulate. Earth's technological capabilities suggested they could potentially neutralize entire planetary defense systems without direct conflict. They had developed technologies that could disable communication, defensive and offensive systems simultaneously. The most chilling part was the humans' apparent lack of aggressive intent. They weren't threatening. They were simply demonstrating potential. Coral's final report to the Inner Council was brutally direct. Humans are not a military threat. They are an existential challenge to our understanding of technological development. As tensions grew, one thing became clear. The relationship between humanity and the Galactic Council would never be the same. The initial mockery had transformed. Into a complex dance of respect, fear, and potential, J. Park watched the developing situation with calm understanding. They had achieved exactly what they wanted, not conflict but recognition. The universe had just changed, and nobody was quite sure how to respond. In the vast, complex world of galactic politics, uncertainty had become the most powerful weapon, and humanity had just become its master. The final diplomatic summit arrived with a tension that could be cut with a knife. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered, their previous confidence replaced by a deep, unsettling uncertainty. J. Park stood at the center of the massive chamber, surrounded by beings from 100 different star systems. His presence was calm, almost peaceful, a stark contrast to the electric atmosphere of fear and respect that filled the room. Vrel, the crystalline representative who once laughed so openly, now sat quietly. His translucent form seemed smaller, more fragile. The human demonstrations had changed everything. "We are not here to threaten," Jay began, his voice clear and steady. "We are here to propose a new understanding." Coral from the Orion Stellar Assembly leaned forward. The mechanical representative systems were working overtime, analyzing every possible scenario. Humans had become an impossible equation, unpredictable, and potentially transformative. The presentation began, but this was different from previous demonstrations. This was a comprehensive view of humanity's potential, not just technological but philosophical, strategic, and humanitarian. Hyun Kim activated the first holographic display. It showed how human technologies could simultaneously solve multiple, global challenges. Environmental restoration, medical breakthroughs, communication networks, all working in perfect harmony. Mirok's computational systems struggled to process the information. These weren't just technologies. They were living, breathing solutions that could adapt to virtually any challenge. Yoon Choi presented the next layer. Detailed scenarios showing how human adaptive technologies could prevent conflicts, restore ecosystems, and create sustainable development across entire planetary systems. The alien representatives watched in a mixture of fear and fascination. Humanity was offering something beyond military might. They were offering a completely new approach to existence. "We do not seek to replace," Jay explained. "We seek to collaborate, to solve, to protect." Each demonstration revealed a deeper truth. Humans had developed technologies that could heal, protect, and transform. Their systems were not about destruction, but about comprehensive problem-solving. The most shocking revelation came near the end. Humanity was offering to share their technological developments, not as a threat but as a potential collaborative effort to address galactic challenges. Vrel's crystalline form began to vibrate. The initial mockery seemed like a distant, embarrassing memory. These humans were offering something unprecedented, a genuine partnership. Coral's systems processed the implications. Humanity was not just a potential threat. They were a potential solution to challenges that had plagued the galactic community for centuries. The final demonstration was both simple and profound, a comprehensive view of how human adaptive technologies could work across different star systems, addressing challenges that seemed impossible to previous galactic civilizations. Silence filled the chamber. The previous tension transformed into something else, a growing sense of possibility. "We are not asking for permission," Jay said quietly. "We are offering collaboration." The implications were staggering. Humanity was presenting itself not as a developing species, but as a potential partner in galactic development. Mirok's computational systems reached a startling conclusion. The humans were not just offering technology. They were offering a completely new approach to existence, adaptive, collaborative, transformative. As the presentation concluded, the alien representatives looked at each other. Something fundamental had changed. The universe would never be the same. Vrel was the first to speak. "We were wrong," he said simply. His crystalline form seemed to shimmer with a mixture of respect and wonder. J. Park allowed himself the smallest of smiles. Not a triumphant grin, but a subtle acknowledgement of a moment that would change everything. The Galactic Council had expected a threat. What they received was an invitation to a new way of understanding existence. The reckoning was complete. And humanity had just rewritten the rules of galactic interaction.